Hey there, it's Misty. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I have a new challenge to share with you for the Simon Says Stamp Wednesday challenge. The challenge this week is Fun in the Sun, and we are featuring Mama Elephant products. I decided to use this Summer Days stamp set just because I thought it was a perfect time of year to use this set, and I thought the images were super cute. So I decided to make a shaker card with this. Now this turned out to be quite a long video. I won't even tell you how much footage I had to cut down. So it was a lot. So this video is a little bit longer than most, but I kind of made things more difficult on myself for this card, which I'll go over as I get there. But I'm using some Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock. There's a rough side and then there's a smooth side, and I'm using the smooth side. I used some Archival Ranger Archival Jet Black ink so that it wouldn't, bleed. And I cut most of this Distress watercoloring out because I didn't really like how it turned out, and I ended up going over everything anyway. So I'll still list all the colors I used over on my blog, but I did cut most of it out for this video because it was longer than it already is. But this is antique linen. It was just too light. It matched the sandcastle. It matched the little rock that the seagull was standing on. And so I pretty much went over the whole thing with colored pencils. And I don't know. I'm still so behind on my Kit and Clowder coloring classes. I signed up for the colored pencil class and the Copic class. I just haven't had time to take any of them except for a couple, but I definitely need to improve on my colored pencil skills because right now I have none. But I must say I was really happy with the way this palm tree turned out. I used Lucky Clover Distress ink. That's the green that you see, and then I'm going to go over it with some colored pencils and add some details to it. So I started out with a lighter green, and then I'm going to go on with a darker green. But again, I will list all these colors over on my blog in case anybody is interested. So it wasn't until I added the dark green that I thought it really gave it some nice detail. See here, this is how it turned out. Look how good that looks. I gotta use these colored pencils more often. And while I have a second here, I just want to remind you that we have the Simon Says Stamp Kids Vacation Challenge going on right now. It's through the entire month of July, and it's open for kids between 2 and 16 inclusive. So if you have any kids and they love to get in your craft room and play around, I encourage you to take pictures of their work and enter that challenge. I'll have a link on my blog for that as well. Or you could always head to the Simon Says Stamp blog. All right, so the coloring all the images twice was one of the things that took me forever. And then this is another thing that I had some issues with how to go about masking this. So I wanted to use the stencil to do, a ocean scene for the background of my shaker card, but I use that top part of the stencil, which is just a straight line, and that kind of messes me up down the road. But I'm going to use Salty Ocean and Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide inks, and I was going to just go over the stencil, but then I thought it'd be fun to put the color down first and then put water on the stencil and just kind of have a light wave on it. So I'm going to keep mixing these two together, darken it up until I like it. And I put little pencil marks on the side showing me where the stencil was going to go, so I knew kind of how far to go up with the color. Yeah, see that line? I don't know. I guess I could have masked a part of the stencil off and then colored up to the wavy part, but I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So, all right, so I'm just going to add some water. This time I didn't shake it off. I just sprayed it right on, and have my hand there so that the water doesn't spray over onto the ink blending. Then I'm just going to lay it down lightly, take a paper towel, kind of blot up the excess water there. And I was really happy with the way this turned out. So you can't really see that line there right now, but I'll show you what I did when I do the sky. So this part, I knew I wanted to do the water on the stencil for the top part as well. I should have moved that paper down. Well, I don't know, it's still a straight line, so I put it above the border of the stencil, so when I took the masking paper off here, I had a big white strip, but I was able to fix that. And for the sky, I didn't do Distress Oxide inks, I just did regular Distress and Fossilized Amber and Squeezed Lemonade. I just wanted it a little bit lighter than, you know, what the Distress Oxides are. But I don't know, I kind of would like to do it again and see how it would have turned out with those colors, with the Distress Oxides. And I cut this part out because it really was, this video was getting way too long. So what I did to fix, you can still see a little line there, but I just put the stencil back on, or I put a mask on the top, I ink blended all the way up to the skyline, and then tried to put the stencil back over it with a little bit of water, kind of in the same lines that it already was, is how I fixed it. Hope that makes sense. And the masking paper here was a waste of time because I should have just put, I use the packaging for the stamp set actually to cover this bottom part up, because that masking paper is really thin, and with adding water to it, I was afraid that it was going to leak right through the masking paper and ruin my ocean part of my card. So again, just squirting some water on this. This time I dabbed it off a little bit. And I don't know, it turned out good, but I think I kind of dabbed too much off, or shook too much off. But see, I noticed that the water, see, all that water on the plastic would have been on the masking paper below, and I think it would have made it bleed, because a little bit of water you can see at the top kind of leaked through. But I'm just going to slowly pull that off because it seemed like it was still a little bit wet. I had to take my adhesive remover and get some of the adhesive off. So now I'm just going to take this acetate sheet and cut it down to size. I usually just use a little Sharpie pen, kind of measure where I want to cut it. It's quick, it's easy, it does the job. I'm going to take my handy little glue syringe here that I love so much and go all the way around my frame. Yeah, see, I don't know. I can see that little line between the ocean and the sky. It kind of bugs me, but it was a lot worse than that, so. Now this is how I like to do my shaker cards. I know you can use a double-sided foam tape, but I don't know. Then, you know, you have to take your anti-static and make sure that it's not sticky inside the window. When you do it this way, and I have a bunch of different sizes of this Be Creative tape, or I can't remember what else it's called. I think it's Be Creative. So whatever size my craft foam is, I have tape that, you know, will usually fit in the space that I need it to fit in. So that way the sides of the foam aren't sticky at all. So I'm just cutting, and I keep all my scraps. So I usually leave it a little bit longer and then cut it like I'm doing right there and make it a little bit longer than what the size hole that I'm trying to fit it in. Hole's not the right word, but anyway, that way that you can, you know, it's going to nudge right up to that top piece of the craft foam, and no sequins will be able to leak out. And there I just marked my, where I wanted to put my little sand dunes here. So I just use a pencil and marked it off. I'm using a lot more liquid glue than I used to because of this little syringe. So I'm trying, I thought about cutting down the background here and then having like a color behind it, but I'm glad I didn't do that ahead of time because see the frame up there is white right now where my shaker window is. And eventually I'm going to add some really pretty glitter paper to that. So I'm glad I didn't cut it down because I think it would have been too busy with the glitter paper and the colored background. So I'm just taking my little pencil mark there and then lining up where I want my little sand dunes. And that was actually a Mama Elephant die too. It was called Stitched Clouds, but I don't think it's available anymore because I can't seem to find it anywhere. And I was showing you the sandcastle because I just took a colored pencil and made little dots on it, trying to make it look like sand. I don't know, I think it helped it. Gave it a little bit of, I don't know what the word is, texture, not texture, details, character. That's the word. I don't know. Anyway, I took my anti-static powder so I can stamp this sentiment that says time to relax. Love this sentiment. It's from Simon Says Stamp card kit stamp from last summer, I think. It's called See You Soon. But I thought the sentiment was perfect for this card. So I just added some black embossing powder and then I'm just heat setting it with my handy little heat tool. And because I love these tiny little birds that were included in this stamp set, I decided to add some birds in there as well. See, I used the raise, I think it's a Tim Holtz raise stencil for the sky, but you can't really see it. It faded quite a bit when it dried. So that's why I would like to try this again with the Distress Oxide inks. I went ahead and stamped this 3 times to get it nice crisp black. See, there is where I decided to add some color to the frame because I thought the white didn't really go with it. So I'm just going to glue all my images down, but I love the glitter paper from Simon Says Stamp. That was part of the assorted glitter paper pack, and it was a perfect color for to match my ocean. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want everything, get everything glued in place before I add my shaker bits. And I love the little seagull, so had to fit him in here somewhere. I was going to put him on one of their heads, but I think it looks really good on the little sandcastle too. And I covered up the left edge of the sandcastle because it popped up a little. I couldn't get it down more because the glue had dried, so I put that little sea snail there to cover that part up. And I had a little bit too much glue on my seagull, so I just dabbed it off onto some scrap paper there. Took a black gel pen, gave the little sea snail some eyes along with my little crab. And we're almost done. If only I could make this card this quick. This was not a quick card at all. Worked on it for a couple days. Well, every free moment I got, I worked on it. And that was spread out over a couple days. No, I didn't work on it all day for a few days. Just little bits here and there. I'm sure you guys know how it is having a busy household. So I'm just using some more of my score tape. That's what it's called. It's Be Creative or score tape, or it has a couple different names, but using my score tape to add some color to my frame here. And I just put it right over the top of the white because I'd already, glued the acetate and the foam to the back of that. And I was going to add some of this glitter pen to a couple of the things inside the card, but the color from the little bucket came off quite a bit on the glitter pen, so I just didn't want to smear color in places I didn't want it, so I just stopped at the bucket. Figured the sequins and the frame were going to add enough sparkle to it. And I don't know if I've ever done a full front shaker card like this, but I ended up putting too many sequins in. I liked it with just the the silver here, moonshine. It's assorted moonshine from Simon Says Stamp. And I did like this. This was Sea Spray by Lucy's Little Things by Lucy's Cards. So I love the sequins I chose. I just put too many in because when I'm done with the card here, it covers up a lot of the stuff at the bottom, like the bucket and the little sea snail. Oh well, you live and you learn, right? And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please click on the like button. If you want to see more of my videos, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button, but don't forget to click on the little bell as well. Otherwise, you will not know when I post a new video. And I post about once a week usually, so I won't bombard you with notifications. And don't forget to head to my blog as well, where I'll have all the details on this card and links to both the Kids Challenge and the Simon Says Stamp Wednesday Challenge. All right, thanks. See you next week. Bye.